Hot as Hell and Shane Foley to the outside post 6. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Group One Coral-Eclipse. And the early skirmishing sees Hot as Hell moving up on the outside of Sozy, who is allowed to stride forward by Maxime Guyon today. Racing in third is Delacroix, and then Ombudsman is in fourth and making a bit of ground around the outside of Delacroix. And then Camille Bizarro is last but one, and Ruling Court is keen, and he's trying to steal ground through on the inside, but it is Sozy given his head here by Maxime Guyon, and he's gone on now by a neck to Hot as Hell, who races in second. An early move around the outside by William Buick on Ombudsman now. He wants a piece of the early action and moves up towards the outside. He doesn't want to be three wide going into the far turn. Towards the inside rail is Ruling Court. Delacroix has been shuffled back, and Camille Pizarro is at the back of the field as now they go into the turn and they race towards halfway in the 50th running of the Coral-Eclipse. On the inside it is Sozy by a contested head. To his outside, Hot as Hell is in second. Then the two runners for Godolphin. On the inside, Ruling Court. Around the outside, Ombudsman. And the two runners for Aidan O'Brien at the back of the field. Delacroix with a shake of the reins. Camille Pizarro on that one's outside as the field turns for home in the Coral-Eclipse. And it is Sozy who has got the lead. To Hot as Hell towards the outside, who races in second position. Ombudsman with clear sailing towards the outside. Ruling Court is in the pocket. They're then being followed by Camille Pizarro and then Delacroix. They're racing down towards the final quarter of a mile, and now Sozy is urged for more by Maxime Guyon towards the outside. Ombudsman now begins to make his surge. Hot as Hell between horses. Camille Pizarro towards the wide outside is picking up now for Christophe Soubion on towards the final furlong. Ombudsman has got the lead but wandering under pressure. Sozy fighting back towards the inside. Delacroix is also picking up on the outside and he's eating up ground, racing up towards the line. It's Delacroix on the outside, Delacroix and Ombudsman, followed by Ruling Court, and then Camille Pizarro, Hot as Hell, and Sozy eventually finished last. Delacroix took a long time to get going, but he's got there, I believe.
Wow, says Steve Mellish, and how, say the rest of us, did Delacroix win the Coral-Eclipse of 2025? Called it 3-1 second favourite, beats favourite Ombudsman. A blow for the classic generation, but not with one of the two classic winners. What is more predictable? Yes, he's trained by Aidan O'Brien, another eclipse for him, and his fourth in the last 5 years, another one for Ryan Moore. And the judge confirms the winner is Delacroix. They turn for home, the least likely looking winner, apparently going nowhere. Even a furlong and a half out, sidewinding as the others settle down to fight out the eclipse. And he emerges on the scene when you least expected it. Delacroix wins the Coral-Eclipse. Another bit of Ryan Moore magic. But how this happened and why this happened, well, we'll have to examine this several times.
Yeah, it takes a lot of fathoming. I mean, if you just got up in the morning and you saw the result, you'd be thinking to yourself, OK, he made all. It's a complete opposite. I think he broke out like he was thinking about it. He soon took back the third. I thought for about 4 furlongs, the horse was utterly disinterested. It wasn't being outpaced. His tail went slightly, and he didn't look a happy horse early in the straight. Once he switched to the outside, the final furlong and a half, it was entirely different. Amazing change of thing. Ombudsman was ridden more prominently than Ascot. He was aware of the fact they hadn't gone that fast, or I don't think they did anyway. They appeared to slow it down halfway, which was tactically the right thing to do for William Buick. And when he hit the front, I thought he was going to go and win comfortably. But he was vulnerable in the final furlong, and the winner has come from out of the clouds.
Beautiful looking horse, beautifully bred horse by Dubawi, out of the Queen Anne Stakes winner and multiple American champion. Tepin, sadly no longer with us. She's produced 2 Group 1 winners from 2 foals. And this another massive result for Coolmore with this bloodline. But what is remarkable is how he's done it, because we thought going into the race, if he was going to win, the likelihood is it would be by dictating and doing what horses have done here at Sandown really effectively this afternoon.
Definitely. Like for 2 furlongs, the horse didn't want to know. I mean, definitely didn't early in the straight. He didn't want to know. He wasn't being outpaced. He was being disinterested. And he still had the ability to pick them up.
All that talent and we will continue to review it for you during the course of the afternoon. Do stay with us here on Racing TV.
It was Delacroix at 3-1 for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien, getting to Ombudsman, running him down. He was the 6-4 favourite. There was a neck between them. The time was 2 minutes 5.92, over a second below the Racing Post standard. It was a messy race early on. Looking at the sections, they went pretty steady for the first 5 furlongs. And therefore, Delacroix needs marking up for what he's done from the back of the field.
Yeah, he looks to be sliding all over the place, not wanting to get involved. William Buick was alive to the fact and helped to keep him in early. And he's got the race won. Camille Pissarro challenges and he sees him off. And then what Ryan Moore conjures out of Delacroix, is quite something. It's special. I think that is one of the races and rides of the season so far, because I don't think the horse helped him in the first 6 furlongs. He wasn't in a brilliant position. William Buick helped to ensure that he wasn't in a good position, all well within the rules of anything. And it's just not going for him there. It's not happening at all. And I just think there's very few jockeys who have ever been capable of getting a horse from that position to win a Group 1 like that. Ombudsman had done, I mean, it looked for a while as though Sosie had ridden the race beautifully. Ruling Court has possibly run really well because he was so warm by the time the race started. He's probably run up to his best. But that finishing speed by Delacroix and the determination of the jockey is what's won the race.
Yeah, final 2 furlongs very fast against the race IQ path of Delacroix.
I'm not surprised.
Because it was steadily run and a bit messy early on, and he's get held in a couple of times, particularly by Christophe Soumillon, Camille Pissarro. This is a tremendously impressive performance from this winner. 11.77 is he's quickened up from the back of the field, then a 12.41, much quicker than his rivals, to get to Ombudsman and go by him. And finishing speed percentage 105.66. So he has come on really quickly up the hill, Delacroix. He'd shown a good turn of foot when he won the Leopardstown trial. He's shown that he had loads of speed that day. He showed that he had stamina, though, didn't he, in the Vertum Futurity last year, over a mile as a 2-year-old. But that, for me, he's better. I mean,
there was a surge in the Derby, but he was from too far back, and things went wrong at the top of the hill. So he's got tons and tons of speed. And we're going to hear Aidan O'Brien tell us that anyway. Not that we need telling. He's demonstrated that, but the options are fantastic. I mean, surely he must go for the Judgmont, where the longer straight at York must play to his strengths, I would think. I just think it was a tremendous ride. I mean, you just get fed up of saying it about Ryan Moore, but there were lots of people who backed him 5-1 into 3-1. But I think we were all backing him on. I didn't. I know you did. On the assumption that he might lead, based on the results
totally
this afternoon, and it was totally the opposite.
Not really going at the back.
No,
and
didn't want it. It didn't
seem to want it, but then he wanted it in those last 3 furlongs. He's absolutely flown home. Brilliant for Ryan Moore. I got some grief last week for saying Ryan Moore was world class. Yeah. Someone said to me on social media, "Well, he just rides the best horses. It's easy for him, isn't it?" Yeah, but he can mess it up, can't he?
Yeah, he can.
And he doesn't
often.
And he doesn't. That's the point.
And he joins a growing list of Aidan O'Brien horses who disappoint badly, and then come out and win next time. They don't get it wrong that often, and not for long.
Another Coral-Eclipse for Aidan O'Brien. Indeed, his 4th in 5 years, courtesy of Delacroix. And the question on everyone's lips afterwards was, how? Because at very few stages did it look likely, Aidan.
Yeah, incredible, Nick. I'd just like to thank Mark, who rides him every day. Dean rides him in his work. Andrew's in charge, and with Edmund and Toomey led him up, and Rory and John and Jack and everyone is all around him. So thanks to them, the lads. So well done to them for producing them and bringing them to us. But incredible. The plan. I thought Ryan was going to make the running with him, Nick. I thought, like, obviously you don't tell Ryan, but you listen to what he's saying. So obviously when I saw it all changing, I didn't know what to happen or what to make. Obviously everyone else had plans as well. So he ended up where he did, and it just kept ringing in my mind. Ryan did say to me during the week, he said, I think this horse is a miler, and I always thought he was a mile and a quarter horse. So as the race went on, that's the only thing kept ringing in my head. Is he a miler? Is he a mile? And Ryan stood to his judgment, because he ended up where he was, and he kept calm and had one go, and I don't know what he did in the last 2 furlongs, but it looked very different. But he did that in his 2 trials as well. He went to the 2 marker and really quickened. But like, what a ride he gave him, Nick. It was incredible. When you have someone like that riding with the power and the confidence that he has, is incredible. Like, a very good race. The second horse is a very good horse, and when you get a 4-year-old rated as high as that, like, you know, it's always tough here. It's when the 3-year-olds meet, but you need a bit different 3-year-old to beat a 2-year-old or a 3 or older horse with that kind of a rating, Nick. You know, so
how convinced were you in your own mind that Delacroix was definitely the one to be with, rather than your Jockey Club winner Camille Pizarro?
Well, listen, this is a tough 1.25 miles here. So, and Camillo was coming from a mile to Ryan produced him on the line to win a Jockey Club, Christoph said he pulled a shoe going into the last furlong, and he felt that it wasn't an advantage to him. But listen, you can't be sure. But Ryan loved this horse. He rode him in the Derby, but I did think Nicky would make the run on him, you know. So, but like, that's him. I said to Ryan, he said, I changed plan 4 times, he said, in the race. So I didn't really get a good look at it, but he said the way it was changing, it was incredible. And he found out where he was, and he was calm, and he was collected and like that, and clinical.
You mentioned all the people that looked after this horse, as you often do, but to what extent is it important with him? Because he looks quite a kind of charismatic horse, shall we say, quite an alpha. Like, he was a bit of a thug with you at Epsom in the preliminaries.
Yeah, the lads have been waiting on a Dubawi all since Dubawi came along, and this is the first one that comes along out of a champion, and he's a total outcross, no Northern Dancer blood in him. Like, he's a total outcross for all the Galileo mares. So he's hardy. He's not soft, but he's a big physical, but he's wide and strong as well as size and quality, if you know what I mean. So he's an unusual type of Dubawi, Nick, really.
Do you think he had a lot left? And do you think he's a horse you can run quite regularly now?
He's hardy, so he shouldn't be afraid to race. But the lads will decide what they want to do, and Ryan is your best answer, best guide on how much he had left. But like, where he came from and what he did to quicken, like, if he had anything left, you'd be surprised, because up that hill running like that, and the favourite was gone, you know. And again, Ryan got out, like, he was well gone.
So we might see him in a Group 1 race over a mile before the end of the season.
I'm not sure what the lads decide to do, Nick, but I don't think it's going to worry him. But if they decide to keep him at 1.25 miles, I will be delighted, you know. So, like, when you can relax like that and you can quicken like that over 1.25 miles, it's very important, you know. So it's very, you know, it's a brilliant thing to have up your sleeve, you know. And like, it's tough 1.25 miles here, I think, you know. Like, you'll know more about the fractions and all that, and I only saw once that it was happening, and there was so much happening in the race every furlong, I couldn't believe it. So I'd say there's a lot to look into it, but incredible what he did, really.
It bears watching a good few times, Aidan. I'm sure you will later. Thanks so much. Well done.
A pleasure, Nick. Thank you. Thanks, Nick.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.